that when we use the material, we have to see that its yield strength. What is the yield strength of the material? What is the ultimate strength of the material? And at what load it will break. So breaking stress, ultimate stress and yield stress, these are the stresses which we need to understand, or whether we use to design any element. The meaning of ultimate stress or maximum stress is that any material, that is in this case what we have used is mild steel sample. So mild steel sample, if we consider the strength of that particular material, it is 250 Newton per mm square. That is, through experimentation it has been worked out, and we can say that the maximum load it can take is 250 Newton per mm square. But that is not the case always. It will be around 250. It may be more also. The meaning of it is that whenever we use the material, we have to see that it is not having the stress more than 250 Newton per mm square. Then and then we will be able to use that particular material. Otherwise, it will fail. So if we design the stool, just like the previous example I gave, that if you design the stool, or let's take an example of hook on which you are suspending one fan, let's say. So if the hook is not having sufficient strength to hold the fan, definitely hook will come out. So that is why it is important to understand the strength of material. So we can use the synonymous as stress instead of strength, or strength instead of stress. So stress and strength, we can say, are one of the same thing. This particular state is known as plastic state of the material. So two clear states we are having. One state is known as elastic state of the material, and this particular state is known as plastic state of the material. So I hope you have understood the stress strain curve on mild steel sample or elastic material. If it is a brittle material, then you won't get this sort of shape, but it will simply break. You will not find even the yield stress point. Now let's solve some examples based on whatever we have learned. Very simple formulas we used, we understood. That is, one formula which we learn is of the stress, that is sigma is equal to P by A. Another formula which we learn is strain, that is delta L upon L, that is change in length upon original length. And we also understood the ratio of stress and strain, which is known as elastic constant or Young's modulus. Let's take an example. Here it is a derivation rather. You can consider this as an example also. Derive formula to find elongation of a bar due to its own weight. Now the meaning of it is, we have to derive one equation. If we don't apply any force, then also the way, because of its own weight, the dimension of the bar may get changed. In day-to-day experience also we may have seen that if you take a jelly and if you hang it like this, then because of its own weight, its length will increase. You can consider this. Why this happens? Again, this we learned during our school days, that this happens because of the gravitational force. Even though the object is freely suspended, gravitational force is always acting on it. So to derive the formula, what we'll do is, as it is mentioned that it is a freely suspended bar, not freely, but it is rather the hanged bar like this. It's an just a ceiling on which the bar is hanged like this. No external force is applied on this bar. It is freely hanged under its own weight. So bar AB, we can consider this as bar AB, is fixed at one end and hanging freely under its own weight. So no external force is applied. This is the length of the bar L. A is cross-sectional area. It is circular in nature. So the cross-sectional area of the bar will be pi by 4 d square or pi r square. E is Young's modulus. We will need to use it. We can consider this as a mild steel sample. Then in this case the E value will be 250 Newton per mm square. W, that is weight per unit volume. So here what we do to derive this equation, we will find out the elongation of a small strip, let's say dx. So dx is at distance x from the lower end, like this. It's a very small strip which we are considering. What we will do is we will find the elongation of dx and we will integrate for whole length, and we will get the elongation of whole bar. That is how we usually derive the equation. Okay, so if you want to find out the weight of the bar, again this is a concept which you need to understand and which you learn in your school days, that as the height increases, the weight also changes. So weight of the bar for a length of x. So if we consider, because what we have done is, this is the strip which we have considered, and this is the part which is hanged below the strip dx. So if you want to find out the force or weight of the bar below the strip or of the x section, we consider this as a P. So P is specific weight into volume of bar up to length x, which we can easily find out as P is equal to W, that is that is a volumetric weight, into area into x. So A into x is nothing but the length, that is this length. A is cross section area of the bar, and W is weight per unit, or unit weight per unit volume. So what we will get is total load. This is the equation which we use, P is equal to W into A into x. This means that on a strip, that is this small strip dx, the weight P, or we can say W into A into x, is acting, and it is acting in downward direction. Okay, so now we can consider that on strip dx, the force acting is P, the magnitude of which is W into A into x. So just like previous examples which I gave, that it will be acting in downward direction, so it means that its length will increase. Or you can also consider this as a tensile force. So due to its this weight, there will be some increase in the length of the element as it is acting downward, as I already mentioned. But here we know that length of the element is dx. So what change in the length will be there? That is what we want to find out. So original length of the strip is dx, not the whole length. Whole length of the bar we are not considering, we are considering the small strip dx on which the force P is acting, which is again in downward direction. There will be change in length of the strip dx. So if you want to find out stress on the element, that is this red element, is equal to weight acting on the element divided by cross sectional area. So we know that weight acting on the element is W into A into x divided by A. As the cross section area of are same, what we get is W into x. So this is the value of stress. But this particular stress is developed only for this particular zone, or only for the strip dx. That is what we need to understand. So here if we again analyze the equation shows that stress due to self weight in a bar is not uniform. The meaning is, if the distance x changes, the stress value also gets changed. So it depends upon the distance x. This is the equation which we use, W into x. So W is constant but x is variable. So as the distance changes, the stress on the element also gets changed. So what could be the solution now? So here again I mentioned that stress increases with the increase of stress, increase of distance x, sorry. Now what we do is we try to find out strain in the element. We already know the value of stress, we can find out strain. We know that E, that is strain, is equal to stress upon Young's modulus. This equation I have derived from the known formula. Young's modulus, that is E, is the ratio of stress upon or stress and strain. So here if I use this E, that is small e, strain is equal to stress upon E. Stress is W into X divided by E. So the elongation of the element, if you want to find out, because we know that strain is equal to change in length upon original length. So elongation, that is delta L, will be equal to strain, that is E, into length of the element. Both the values are known to us now. We know the strain as well as we know the length of the element, which is equal to dx. So delta L, that is change in length, for this dx is W into X divided by E, that is strain, multiplied by dx, that is nothing but the length of the strip or length of the element which we considered. So delta L, that is actually the change in length of this particular bar, this particular strip we can say, or this element. But if we want to find out change in length of the whole bar, then we need to use the integration, and integration must be between the value of x from 0 to L. So let's integrate this equation to find out the total change in length. So delta L, we integrate from 0 to L, W into X upon E, that is strain, into dx. Now it's a very simple integration. Just follow the steps which you already know. W and E are constant, so only integration will be x dx. The integration of x dx is x square by 2, and the limits or range is 0 to L. We substitute the value of L and 0 into the equation and we find out the answer, that is delta L is equal to W upon E into L square by 2. Or further, if we write down, we can use this equation in this form also. This is the equation which we derive. So delta L, this is the equation which we can write down in another form also. Delta L is equal to W, that is here it is capital W into L upon 2E, because capital W is nothing but it is total weight of the bar. W is total weight of the bar, which is normally known to us. So this is what our answer for the first example. Many a times we may need to derive certain equations and we use the integration, or we can use the algebraic sum method also. So here definitely mathematics is very useful and we need to use lot of mathematics to solve the examples. Let's take another very simple example very fast because we are running out of time again. Example 2 is, we need to find out minimum diameter of a steel wire which is used to raise a load of 4000 Newton. If the stress in the rod is not to exceed 95 meganewton per meter square. My advice to the student is always look for the units. Never forget to read the data carefully. Here the unit of the stress given as 95 meganewton per meter square. So write down the unit appropriately, just don't look at the figure which is given. Let's solve the example. The data which is given to us is P, that is load on the bar, that is 4000 Newton. Stress is given to us, that is maximum stress it can have is 95 meganewton per meter square. Simple conversion, 95 Newton per mm square, because we know that the unit of stress which we are using is Newton per mm square. So see that if the unit of stress is Newton per mm square, the load which you are using also must have a unit in Newton. By chance if it is given as kilonewton, then we need to convert this value also into newtons. Okay, so what we do is, we need to find out the minimum diameter of the wire which is unknown. So let's say D is the diameter of the wire which we'll need to find out. we take that its unit is mm. Obviously we know that if it is a circular in section, then A, that is cross sectional area, will be pi by 4 d square. Now we know the equation of stress. Stress is nothing but load upon area. So the values, we simply substitute the values. We know that stress, which is given 95, load is given to us, that is 4000 Newton, and equation for area is already known to us, that is pi by 4 d square. So it is simple to find out now. You know that how to find out the answer. The only unknown value in this case is diameter d. So d square is equal to this value, and using this we can find out the answer d, that is 7.33 mm. So diameter of the wire which is required to raise the load of 4000 Newton without exceeding the stress limit to 95 Newton per mm square is 7.33 mm. This is our answer. The references which I have used are this. I use the two very good book. One is Mr. R.K. Bansal. It is a textbook of strength of materials. Another which is a very good book, from which I have taken the picture of some of the pictures, particularly of shear stress, where from this particular book it is James Gary or Gary James, Mechanics of Materials. Another, I am thankful to YouTube also, because that particular video I was able to download from that. I hope that you get the concept of simple stress and strain. Because we are running out of the time, I may not be able to take more examples, but this is the general concept we need to use. The things which you need to understand or remember is stress is proportional to the strain. Let's hurriedly quickly just take the essence of the today's lecture is stress is proportional to the strain. Stress may be tensile, compressive, shear, or that are direct stresses. It may be indirect stresses also, or it may be compound stress, where it is combination of direct and indirect stresses. The strain is change in length to original length. There is a clear-cut relation between stress and strain, that is stress is always directly proportional to the strain, but up to within elastic limit only. So within elastic limit the stress is proportional to the strain, and that